going to the Orlando area to meet some friends for breakfast. And I thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about daily driving your 924S or 944. I'm going down a road here in Sparky, my 924S, 1987. The car's got 68,000 miles on it, and this is the one that I rescued from the crusher going back 2015 or so. I bought it from the insurance company. It had an engine fire with only 44,000 miles on the clock, which was, you think about it, that's not a lot of miles for the time that it was in service. So I picked it up. I had to replace things like wiring harness and all the rubber stuff that melted and some sensors and things like that. But the fire itself really wasn't all that bad. It was a pretty calm fire. You put it out right away. But when you start to think of what it costs just in parts from Porsche, which is what the insurance companies do, they got to $6,000-$7,000 just in parts pretty quick. So they totaled it. So I picked it up from the insurance company and replaced the wiring harness and stuff like that from parts cars. But I also got new rubber stuff and was able to put it all back together for about $1,000 all told. And there was a spot on the hood that had peeled a little bit from the heat of the fire, and so I had the hood painted because the rest of the paint was actually pretty good. So I got the car, the hood painted, did the deferred maintenance because it hadn't been driven, and I had no records on what it needed, what had been done, and then started pecking away at certain little things that needed to be done, like the clutch. It did have the original rubber-centered clutch in it, which that's a failure point, and I would rather do it on my schedule than on the clutch's schedule. So I went ahead and replaced it with a Sachs clutch kit, spring-centered clutch. And the rubber-centered clutch, though, was still in pretty good shape, quite surprisingly. Since then, we've gone through a lot of shows. I've put about 25,000 miles on it since 2015 or so. But like in a lot of cases that I'm sure you guys are familiar with, around 2016 or 17 or so, I sold Sparky, and the president of our Porsche club wanted it, and so I caved in and I sold it. I told him, though, because I knew I'd made a mistake. As soon as I signed the title, I knew I was making a mistake. And I told him, if you ever want to sell it, you call me first. So 2 years went by. He only put a couple thousand miles on it in that period of time. And he called me and said he wanted to sell. It was like no question whatsoever. I gave him basically his money back. Had a leaky power steering. Yeah, what else is new? So I fixed that, and then went through and did a few other things. Most recently, I found that replica Fuchs wheels that are from an early 911. So they would have a 36 millimeter offset, 6 inches wide. They do pretty much fill out the fenders because these cars are supposed to have a 53 offset. These are 36. So I went ahead and did those. They look really nice. The tires don't hit, but I put 195 15s because the tire width was going to be set so far out. But they do fit well, and car rides well. I also replaced the front seats with a set of front seats from the 944. They're more comfortable than the stock seats, and because they're more comfortable, the driver's seat is also power up and down. So my wife, who's a little bit shorter than me, can get in the car, raise the seat up, and see over the dashboard and the steering wheel. Kind of nice. So this car is very dependable. I have not had to do any major engine work other than regular maintenance, belts, water pump, and all that. Now, here in Florida, it gets a little toasty in the summertime, and because it gets a little toasty, we want to make sure the cars don't overheat or heat up. So I put in a 160-degree thermostat and a 160-degree fan switch. I also replaced the radiator several years ago, as the original stock radiator was kind of clogged at the bottom and couldn't really get it cleaned out, so I just opted for a new radiator, put that in here. It's very rare that Sparky will hit the middle indicator on the temp gauge, which is somewhere around 190 degrees. It usually stays between 170 and 190 degrees, even in the summer. Very rarely goes above the middle mark on the gauge, even in traffic with the air conditioner on when it's 95 degrees. Now with Sparky, everything works. Sunroof, rear hatch, all that stuff works the way it's supposed to. It's got an aftermarket radio that I put in. It didn't have a radio when I got it, so I just put that in. And other than that, we just drive. We just go places. Now, we were up at Amelia Island in 2019, and a friend was driving Sparky. I had a special edition going to the show on my trailer. And going out to Fernandina Beach from 95, there's State Road 200. You've been there, you know what I'm talking about. And back in 19, it was under construction. And the guy who was driving Sparky got crowded as the construction zones changed around. Got crowded into the little short concrete barrier on the side of the road, little temporary barriers, and by a semi, and he didn't leave him enough room, so he ended up scraping the concrete barrier, put a nick in each of the right side wheels, and also put a scrape down the side of the car. So we were going to a works reunion, and no big deal. We put a big Band-Aid on the worst part of the scrape, and I think people took more pictures of that than any other vehicle at the works reunion. And they were nice. They felt sorry for me and Sparky, and they awarded us a third place trophy in class, which was kind of cool. So I took it to my local body man in DeLand, who does wonderful work, and he not only fixed the scrape down the side, but repainted the entire car. Now, of course, I had to take it apart and make it so he could just fix the damage and then squirt it, and I put it back together. And just for reference, so you know, it takes me a day or day and a half to take one apart for paint. However, it takes 2 weeks to put it back together, because you have to be really careful about things like door handles and mirrors and that kind of stuff. As you reassemble the car, you don't want to scrape that soft new paint. So Sparky and I go everywhere. We did 3 shows last weekend. Going to meet my friends today. We go out to dinner. family, and I will not make the mistake of selling Sparky again. Now, you can see in the background the plaid on the seats. I used only 944.com seat reupholstery kits and had them do the centers in plaid. Now, they only do the plaid for the front seats. They don't do them for the rears. But, you know, it's me. So I bought some plaid, extra plaid cloth when I had the seats made, and I took the rear seat to an upholstery guy in Orange City near DeLand, and he had his folks stitch the plaid into the back seats. It's kind of cool, kind of a neat thing. So that's where we're at. Daily driving a 924S or a 944 is definitely possible. You have to keep up on maintenance. You have to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to, and that you keep up on things like oil changes, fluid changes, brakes, tires, all the normal stuff. And if you hear a weird noise or something doesn't feel quite right, investigate it and fix it, because that's essential to making sure that the car will continue to operate properly and won't leave you on the side of the road. Now, does that mean that my 37-year-old Porsche is not going to leave me on the side of the road one day? No, that's a possibility. But then again, my wife's Passat might leave us on the side of the road one day. So I just take it in stride. The good news is that if something does break, I can probably fix it, at least enough to get home on the side of the road. And if not, there's always a wrecker that I can call to hoist me up on the deck and take me and Sparky back to the house. So that's it for today, and we'll get back with you soon.